Alright, so today we're going to show you this Brown & Sharp universal grinder. This is a 10 by 24. It's getting ready to be shipped to a customer, and I just wanted to go over a few things. The oil that goes in it is going to be drained out for shipping, and so you need to replace the oil. And the oil you want to use in here is Mobile Vacuoline 1405. Now that's the only oil you're going to want to put in here because that's a combination whey lube and hydraulic oil for this machine to run properly. So you're going to have to get yourself at least 30 gallons of Mobile Vacuoline 1405. And then when you fill the machine all up and you've got it wired in, this is currently wired for 440 volts. You have to start up here. You got two different buttons. The top one is number 1. This is actually starting a pump on the back of the machine that is making oil or sending oil up to this hydrostatic spindle. This is not a standard Brown & Sharp workhead. This is their hydrostatic model. It's a live spindle only. You have to mount a chuck on it, a faceplate on it, or something in the center, but it's going to be rotating all the time. Your tailstock here is a number 7 journo. The taper of the center you're going to put in here. This taper on here is a Brown & Sharp number 12. You're going to have to get yourself a reduction sleeve from Bourne & Co. A Brown & Sharp number 12 to a number 7 journo. That's what this wants. The outside taper is a specially modified 5-inch lathe nose A2, 5-inch A2, but they say modified. I'm not sure what that is. All the items that can attach to that you can purchase from Brown & Sharp. So this has full feature. It has plunge feed, it has incremental feed, it has a rapid in and out approach, and it also has a spark out where at the end of the cycle it'll kick out on its own. So that's a lot of stuff going on. So right now I have my gauges and switches all set so it can do a cycle. I have my grinding wheel selection on external. I have my rapid travel of the slide turned on. I have my mode switch on automatic cycle. Now I could have this on manual or I can have it on setup. I'll explain that later. But in automatic, you start the cycle by pulling this lever forward. And what's going to happen is the slide is going to move forward. The headstock is going to come on. And if you're in the traverse mode, you're going to start moving your table. So in the very beginning, I like to bring the slide forward. Let's see here. What am I doing wrong? Maybe I didn't start the second button. Okay. Got to start the second button. That starts your work head, brings the power to the rest of the machine, starts your grinding spindle. This grinding spindle is on right now. Now when you pull the lever, your slide's going to come forward and your table's going to start moving. So I like to let this table, especially after the oil's been drained out of it, you want to make sure you're going to clear all your components here and let this travel to the end of its travel, just to get all the air and stuff out of it. If you're sure it's not going to hit anything, it'll go as far as it can go and it'll stop on its own. Let it do that a few times. That's forcing all the air and all the bubbles out of the system. This knob here is to control the speed of the table. So once that starts to run smoothly, that's at the end of its travel. You can bring your stops back in. You want to make sure they're locked in. But now you see as we reverse, I'm still in my automatic cycle, so this is actually feeding each time. Of course, you'd want to go a lot slower if you were grinding. This automatic cycle now, when I retract this, if I want to back up, it'll automatically back the wheel slide up, and it will back your hand wheel up again. So when we start this, we want to put it in a plunge mode, then you have to switch down here to the plunge setting, and then when you come in, you start a plunge. And this will go completely around until it gets to the other side, which would be 0, and then you have a spark out. There's a magnetic switch mounted down on the bottom here that is going to start this spark out timer. It's going to be a book with this machine. It's going to explain all this stuff. Once it gets down to 0, which is going to be right now, we start our timer up there. When the time is up, slide will kick back, hand wheel retracts, and the workhead will shut off. Do that again. We start feeding. Now this will only work if this switch here is in the off position, in the stop position. If you have this in any other position and you go to pull that lever in or out, you're not going to have the workhead come on. When you want to have all this stuff work together, you have to have this in the automatic cycle. So this is after you've done your setup and after you've hand ground a couple of parts and you know everything is right. Now you can start on this automatic cycle. Here's your spark out. First your feet is going to back up, and then your head is going to go back. And the last thing that's going to happen is the workhead shuts off. Now when you're in the rear position, you have a red light on. When you're in the front position, you get the orange light on. Down here on the mode selection switch, you've got also a setup switch. Now, the only thing about the setup switch is that I can jog the slide in a little bit. I don't have to jump it in one shot. If you want to come in slowly with your joystick to get down to that amber light and see that you haven't hit your workpiece, now you can go in manually until you touch your part. So that's the only difference between the setup and the manual mode. In the manual mode, in the center position here, you can start your workhead and your table moving with this switch now, which is more people that have a basic Brown and Sharp number 1 or one of these 10x20s or 10x24s. This is the normal switch that they use to start and stop the workhead and to start the table. And when you want to start your in-feed, you would hit that thing there. But this machine still is in the semi-automatic mode. The only way that wheel slide comes forward on this machine is when you use that lever. And when you come off of here, you can start your in-feed by hitting that lever there. That's your cross-feed engagement. So in the manual and in the setup mode, you've got to turn your headstock on and off on your table with this button here. You've got to bring your slide in with this lever here. But you've got to start your cross feed by coming off this stop here and actually hitting this clutch. There's a lot of stuff going on that you have to know. Again, when you back up, now you're going to use this lever to disengage that. Actually, you use that. Now it goes back. So again, your full automatic cycle over here. Head is back, workhead is off, hand wheel has retracted. All the operator does now when the machine is all set up is just pull this in. The headstock will start on its own. No, it doesn't start. Why? Because I have this on. You have to have this off. Then you'll get the full cycle. All right, this is supposed to be like this. Locked in at 0. It all spins around. It has an eccentric. Everything on this machine has been cleaned up and gone through. All your tables have been cleaned and oiled and slid. All the lubrication has been checked and gone over. New belts put on the workhead. Everything cleaned up inside of here. It's all been sealed off with gasket cement, so you don't want to go opening that up unless you absolutely have to. Machine's in nice shape. Come in, start another cycle. Each time we reverse, we feed. The work head speed is adjusted here. And that's it. That's your Brown & Sharpe 1024U. Again, you're going to get a book, but you've got this video to kind of refer to, so you don't make some mistakes that you saw me make. You got a jog here for your work head, so you don't have to have this running constantly in the beginning. You want to just jog it, you can jog it. Again, whenever you want to stop the cycle, you push your switch in. In the back of this wheel slide, there's actually a cam that can be adjusted. If you don't want to go back quite that far, if you're like really into production and shaving seconds off your work time, you can adjust it so that it only backs up a certain amount. So there you have it. That's the Brown & Sharpe. Thank you very much.